I really don't want to keep wrestling this thing around. I know. We'll take care of it. Well, if you haven't guessed, what I'm doing is I am designing a copy / inspired by others version of an Airhead motor stand. These are tools that were common in old BMW shops. The design that I have decided to go with is inspired a fair bit by the original factory tool, which I've had the good fortune to be able to see once or twice. There's other versions of this that you could find online. There's other YouTube creators that have made something a little bit similar to what I've done here. Not quite the same, but a lot of it is similar to this. Other variants tend to use the engine mounts, the 2 bolts that go through the bottom of the motor to hold this, but I like the factory stand because it can be used for the gearbox as well. Actually, if you watch the Boxer 2 valve videos on motor rebuilding and Airhead work, you'll see that the Plams have 1 or 2 of the original factory models, and I took a good look at the tool that they had there too before I was able to see it. And I've known for a long time that I wanted something kind of like this. So what I'm doing is laying out a version of the tool that will have a lot of the same capabilities of the factory tool, but obviously be a little bit cheaper than what I could find any of those for. Those factory tools, particularly the motor stands, seem to be pretty much impossible to find. And I decided to go ahead and make one. So yeah, sit back and enjoy a little bit of Autodesk time, and I'll be back a little bit later at the end of the design. Oh, and if you're not interested in watching somebody just go through a bunch of design work in Fusion 360, then you can use the markers down below to skip ahead. As you can see, I had this manufactured for me at an offsite service. I've used this service a few times now on different projects. This is from SendCutSend. It's an excellent service. They are not sponsoring this video, just something that I've used and had really good results with. They do a great job in executing the design, and they're very quick, and they have very, very thorough packaging. All of the hardware that I am using for this came from McMaster-Carr, also not sponsored. So as I was test fitting everything, one thing I discovered is the lock pins that I ordered were, well, they were exactly on dimension as was specified by McMaster-Carr. But the thing that I didn't really account for was a little bit of variance in the laser cutting dimensions and also the amount of space that the powder coating would take up. So in order to get everything to fit a little bit more smoothly, what I had to do is make some small modifications to these brackets just to expand the size of the lock pin holes on both pieces. That's something that I will adjust in the design file so that if I ever make another one of these, I can have one that is a little bit better fit than what I wound up with. The lock pins are 8 millimeters, which is, plus or minus a little bit. I gave it like 8.2, this 8.1, 8.2. And I found that with the ball bearing and the lock pins, they really didn't want to get through to the far side. You could force them in, but I don't want to fight with this too much. So I used the closest drill that I had to the next size up, which was 8.5 millimeters, which is gave them just a little bit more play than I would like in the end. But yeah, but it worked. So here I'm putting this together for final assembly, and I'm using lock nuts on these main pivot bolts. So you'll see that I tighten them up and then I back them off just a little bit because I don't want them to bind in the motion. I want them to be snug against the washer that I'm using in between the two parts, but not so much that it's difficult to move, and I also don't want it to be too sloppy. Okay, here we go. Using it for the first time on my cheap Harbor Freight engine stand. Bolted up nicely. It seems to be holding the weight just fine. I can pivot it through all of the motions on the motor stand, and it's looking good. I'm being very cautious at this point because, well, it's the first time it's been used, and I want to make sure that everything is all right. But in the end, it checks out and seems to be a successful design. I will end up sort of leaving it mounted and see if anything drifts as it gets moved around a little bit. I'll be checking on this a fair bit. But yeah, you can see right there, there's a little bit of play with the motor. It pivoted just a bit there. That's that 8.5 millimeter versus the 8.2 millimeter that I really needed for those lock pins. So when I'm rotating it, I do have to be careful to make sure the lock pins stay in place. They could drift out just a little bit more than I'd be comfortable with if I spin it like that, but that's not too bad. I'll remember that as I'm using it. Otherwise, it seems to be good enough to do the business.